Alright, so in this tutorial, I'm going to take you through the pregame preparation for using iScore baseball softball with your league game here. This is version 5.11 for the iPad. And the first thing that you're going to do is tap where it says Game Manager here in the top left. And then you can see these are all past games that I've participated in. You're going to want to tap where it says Add Game, top right hand corner. Then that'll bring you to this prompt here. From here, you're going to want to tap where it says Discover Game at the bottom. And then from here, it's going to pull up all the different organizational platforms that different leagues use, whether it's baseball, softball, etc. For our particular league here in Houston, we use Sports Engine. So I'll go ahead and type on Sports Engine. And then it's going to prompt me for my login and password, because it's the first game of the season. Haven't used this in a minute. Then let me pull up my password. Go ahead and type that in. And then sign in. Then you'll tap where it says your league name, which in this case is Houston NABA. And then it'll pop up the next game for the team that you're managing or you're the administrator for. So in this case, I'll go ahead and tap on the game today. You're going to want to do this process usually no earlier than a few hours before the game. Sometimes your opponent will add last-minute substitution players to their roster, and obviously you don't want to load the game probably more than, like I said, a few hours or a day in advance. In case they do that, it tends to cause issues on the back end when you go post-game to export the stats and the box score and everything like that back to the website. So it shows the game here. I'm going to go ahead and tap where it says Import in the top right-hand corner. Tap Yes to confirm the import. And then import complete. So that's loaded the game into the game manager here. So from here, I'm going to tap back. There's two different back buttons. You tap the top one in the top left-hand corner, and then back again. And then for whatever reason, I think it's because I play in two different leagues, it doesn't sort the games here perfectly in chronological order, but you can see the one that I'm looking for is third from the top here. That's today, September 8th, 2018, Redbirds at River Dogs. So I'll go ahead and tap on that. And then it brings you to this screen. This screen is more for your use after the program, or rather after the game, post-game. So go ahead and tap top right-hand corner, that orange button where it says Score Game. And then from here, it loads the actual in-game app interface. And by default, it will go to the both home and visitors lineups. So in this case, we are the visiting team. So I'll tap on Visitor, the bottom left. And then from here, you want to set your lineup, at least as best you know it, or as tentatively as possible before the game. What's going to happen is you'll get to the field, you'll be concerned with warm-ups, putting the bases out, making sure people have arrived, etc., etc. And there's really not going to be a lot of time to do data entry actually on the field, especially once the game is about to start. So go ahead and set at least your team's lineup as best as you can. So I will go ahead and do that now. You can move lineup order or move player order around by pressing and holding these three horizontal lines on the far right column. So I'll go ahead and move some players around, set my lineup for today. So I'm going to do the lineup sequence first, and then I will do the defensive positions. Got Torrey batting first, Daniel second, Luis Santos is going to be third, Ray Mariano 4th. Delvin Hudson, 5th. Andrew Ortiz, 6th. Chad Danny Teneo, 7th. Clayton Busby, 8th. Donald Law, 9th. Christian Rodriguez, 10th. And then Cody Roan, 12th. I'm sorry, 11th. Okay, and then you'll see some other players here. Some of these roster additions were manually created, so I'm going to go ahead and delete some of these substitution players or manually created roster things. And it looks like some of these players have multiple entries, so hopefully that doesn't cause any issues on the back end. I'm going to go to export. Let me just double check my roster to make sure the spelling here for some of these guys. Chad Danny Teneo. These 2 entries can go. There's some duplicates here. I think this is from the previous season, just based on the names that I'm seeing here, and some guys have switched numbers, etc., etc. Cool. Okay. All right, and then from here I'm going to go ahead and set the defensive position. So some of these I've already got preset in Sports Engine, so they're going to default to their #1 position, and then others I'm going to have to change. So you do that by tapping on the position itself. In this case, Daniel is going to be alternating with someone else in the infield, so I'm just going to put other fielder here. Luis Santos, starting pitcher, Ray's at first, Delvin's at second, Andrew's catching, Chad's going to be at short, Clayton's going to be another one of these, other fielder designations. Donald Law, same thing. Christian's going to be on the left. Cody at third. And Kevin's going to be in right field, and then Ricardo is going to be another one of these other fielder designations. Now with the lineup that I'm putting out there today, I only want to bat 11. We have quite a few guys showing up to the game today, so I'm going to do a couple defensive substitutions at some point during the game, I guess both defensively and offensively. So to indicate that someone's not in the starting lineup, like I'm going to do here with the 12th and 13th spot since I'm only batting 11, so I'm going to go ahead and tap where it says batting for Kevin Flores, and then tap no for this player's not in the starting lineup. Same thing with Ricardo Pena. Is this player a starter? No. And then from there I've got my lineup set 1 through 11, and then I've got a couple defensive subs on the bench, and that's probably what my lineup's going to look like. Again, this is, I'd say, about 90% tentative. Obviously some guys are going to show up late or not show up at all sometimes, and you just have to be ready to make adjustments pre-game. Which brings me to my next point, which is the home team's lineup, or the opposing team's lineup. So he's got his roster loaded here, and really, I mean, most managers aren't going to share lineups farther than a few minutes in advance before the game start. Obviously, it doesn't make sense probably to do that even farther in advance, especially if you're in a competitive league like we are. So this is going to be their entire roster, and you're just going to have to be ready a minute or two before the game starts to take the lineup card from the opposing manager, opposing team, and then go ahead and set the order, set the defensive positions, all the same things you did with your lineup, you're going to do for the opponent a minute or two before the game starts. And again, you're only going to have a minute or two to do that, so all the more important to set your lineup as best you can in advance here so that you don't have to do that, or at least you're going to make minimal adjustments before the game starts. So that's my lineup. This is the home roster. I will set their lineup a minute or two before the game starts, and then you can go ahead and tap done. And that's mostly the pregame preparation here. I sometimes go ahead and put my iPad on airplane mode, especially if I'm not going to be live casting the game. That really saves battery, in the interim, but also on field. And then once you're ready to start the game, you just tap where it says play, bottom left, and then the game started. Thanks for watching, and good luck.